You're live.
A chance for soccer history in Central Florida tonight. Not once, maybe twice, and who knows, the way these two teams go at it, maybe a lot more than that, as the Major Arena Soccer League presents Soccer Night Florida, the Florida Tropics, as they host the Syracuse Silver Knights. Good evening, fans, and welcome to the Swan City. We are at Sykes Field inside the RP Funding Center for what is another critical, even though it's early in the season, matchup in the Eastern Division. We say critical because, frankly, every game in the division this year is going to be very important. You look top to bottom in this four-team Eastern Division, and you can throw a blanket over all four teams. Any one of them could probably win the division. Certainly, any one of them could garner one of the two playoff spots. And the fact that each team plays the other three teams in the division a total of 12 times means everything on the line every time a division game is played, as we have here tonight between Syracuse and Florida. The Tropics, of course, coming in off their biggest division win, and really their biggest win ever in franchise history. That was November 18th when they hosted Baltimore. And, of course, the blast fell 5-4. It's the first time that the Tropics have ever beaten Baltimore. And you look at Syracuse, Florida comes in 3-1. Syracuse comes in 1-3. Believe it or not, they've lost all three games by just one goal, including one in overtime. And the game they won, they also won by just one goal. That's how close things have been in the East. You look at the goal differential between these two teams. They've each played 4 games. The goal differential for Florida is a +2. The goal differential for Syracuse is a -2. That's how thin the line has been between success and failure for the Tropics and the Silver Knights so far. It's early in the season, but every division game is really going to matter. And all the division is in action tonight, as a matter of fact, in the MASL. Baltimore is at home. Harrisburg is at home, so we will keep a close eye on those games as well. But first, let's take a quick look back at that win against Baltimore. Really, as we said, a truly exciting and historic event, if you will, for the Tropics, given the fact they had never beaten Baltimore and the fact that Baltimore came in as the two-time MASL defending champions. Really a dramatic game with a dramatic finish, as the Tropics managed to get the game winner with just
and as soon as, well, here we go. Hoxie shot the goal. Andrew Hoxie from the left wing, about 30 feet out. Schliwa, I think, would like that one back. Well placed shot. Blast. Dallas with it, goes on the goal! Hits his left glove out just in time. Well done. Down to Mugin with it with a shot. Goal! A beautiful nutmeg on Dos Santos. Well, Dos Santos is going to want to burn the tape for that one. Here's a shot. Oh, great save by Schliwa. His best of the game. Here's Coutinho, counter-attack opportunity with Villegas. Coutinho to Villegas, shot, redirect. Oh, here comes Donatelli. Donatelli, he's got Thomas making a run, said Penalties, but also got the goal. That was the early crazy days of indoor soccer in this country. Here's Hoxie with a short side shot, and that just misses that ball, but we're not looking at 5-3. Those two hooked up on a pretty. Here's a chance for Baltimore now. Schliwa with it. Villegas tried to get a breakaway, and now Diegas is ahead of the field. Diegas with a shot! Van Zyl still have a minute 20 to go. Here's the ball deep into the left corner, in front, shot and a goal. There's the game time, though, to set something up, gets it down to Mugin. Mugin brings it out to the red line, leaves it off. Here's a long shot and goal!
Back of the net with just 21 seconds to play, and the Tropics were able to hang on for those final 20 seconds and win it by a final score of 5-4, improving Florida's mark to 3-1 on the season. So the Tropics now actually in first place in the East, only by a half a game over both the Harrisburg Heat and the Baltimore Blast, who we said are both in action tonight. Harrisburg and Baltimore at 2-1, and the Silver Knights come in 1-3. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about some of the news of the Tropics. We've got a new goaltender starting tonight, a name that Central Florida soccer fans are sure to know. We'll tell you all about that in just a moment on Soccer Night Florida on MASL.TV.
Hi everyone, I'm Shannon Estelle. I just wanted to say hi and hope you enjoyed tonight's game. When you're done here, go over to my YouTube channel to get to know me a little bit better. And yeah, enjoy the game. Go Tropics!
Back here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland, Florida. We're about 45 minutes between Tampa Bay, St. Pete to our west and Orlando to our east. And fans in Central Florida, certainly fans of the Orlando City Lions, will know the name of the starting goalkeeper tonight for the Florida Tropics. It's Miguel Gallardo, who will be in goal tonight, not Peter Sliwa. Gallardo, an all-star, a championship-level goaltender with the Orlando City Lions in their days in the USL. He really put a remarkable run together with the Lions, and it is no stretch to say that he is one of the major building blocks that the Lions used to catapult themselves into Major League Soccer. You go back to 2011, and Gallardo helped the Lions to the USL Championship. He was named the Goaltender of the Year in the USL. The Lions won a league title with Gallardo in goal again in 2013. So he is championship caliber to be sure. In fact, you look at his numbers with the Lions, 51 career starts for Orlando City, 27 shutouts. So more than one out of every two games that Gallardo played for Orlando City was a shutout. His goals against average outdoors was 0.733, absolutely stellar. And there's a lot of reason to believe that Gallardo can actually translate to the indoor game fairly well. Obviously, it's a very different game, and there will be some transition and growing pains, but there are some reasons to think that the growing pains might not be all that severe. One is he has played some indoor soccer. In fact, you go back to the days of the PASL back in 2007, 2008. He actually appeared in a PASL All-Star game when the PASL All-Stars played the Stockton Cougars in California that season, and Miguel was the goaltender for the PASL team. And then, so he had some indoor experience then. Of course, that was more than a decade ago, but the game is not totally new to him. The second really major asset that Gallardo has, besides just really some very good athletic ability and the ability to move around the goal quickly, he's very, very good with his feet, and that is a very important skill in the indoor game. We certainly see that quite often with Peter Sliwa, the regular starting goaltender for the Tropics, who always is calm, cool, and collected with the ball, even when he's got pressure on him. He distributes well with his feet, and that is something Miguel does very well also. And so that is something that he has in his favor. And he's got in my opinion, what I would call just kind of the perfect goaltender size. He's got a little length to him, but he's not real big, but he's probably in the 6'1" range or so. And you look at some of the better goaltenders in the MASL over the last couple of years. William Vanzela, certainly in Baltimore, comes to mind. Steven Patterson out in Kansas City, and they were kind of taller, rangy guys that certainly had a ton of athletic ability as well. And Miguel, even though he does not play outdoor anymore, he's still just 32 years old, so he is not old by any stretch of the imagination. And the Tropics think they may have found themselves, if Peter Sliwa is 1A, and he has certainly played like that for the first 4 games of the regular season, then Miguel Gallardo could easily be a very fine 1B on this roster. And you look at how the schedule breaks out for the remainder of the season, which is to come, and of the 18 games remaining, or 17 after tonight, 10 of those are back-to-back games, starting with a 2-game road trip next weekend in Baltimore and in Syracuse. And that means if you have 2 goaltenders available to you, then you may be able to play one night and one the other and have fresh legs in there. And that could be an advantage for the Tropics, especially as they work themselves later into the season. So Miguel Gallardo will get the start for the Tropics tonight. One other lineup change, and that is Maicon Franca, number 12, is back in the lineup tonight for Lucas Catino, who is away from the team on a trial for an outdoor club. So Maicon Franca and his speed will be back in the lineup for the Tropics. We'll take a break, and then we will come back and meet the teams and the starting lineups for tonight's game. This is Soccer Night Florida on MASL.TV.
I love my job, truly because of the people.
I'm actually looking forward to stepping into the office every single day.
I love working at Sykes because I love talking to people from around the country and just hearing their story.
I like the customer interaction.
And it helps me feel that I'm being part of something bigger than myself.
And the reason I love my job is the opportunity to make such great relationships with so many different people.
I work in a family more than at an actual call center.
I love my job.
Just a couple of minutes away from kickoff here tonight in Lakeland, Florida, between the Tropics and the Syracuse Silver Knights. This will be the 5th meeting all-time between these two teams, and the one team that Florida did have success against last year in Florida's expansion season was the Silver Knights. They were 3-1 against Syracuse last year, and the 2 wildest games that the Tropics played all last year came against Syracuse, a 12-10 win for Florida here last February, and then the 2 teams closed out the regular season in Syracuse in late February, and the Silver Knights won that game by a score of 14-8. So certainly a lot of goals potentially on the floor tonight as these two teams renew the rivalry. As we said, 3-1 was the record Florida put up against Syracuse last year. Where the Tropics really stumbled in the division was against Harrisburg and Baltimore, because Florida was 0-7 against those two teams. And, of course, it was Baltimore and Harrisburg that earned the final or the 2 playoff spots in the East. As we take a look at the Syracuse Silver Knights as they are introduced here at the RP Funding Center.
Number 3, Michael Cunningham. Number 4, Demencio Vitale. Number 9, Vittorio Petrera. Number 13, Bo Jelovich. Number 21, Darren Toby. Number 22, Andrew McCaughlin. Number 23, Logan Roberts. Number 24, fielding a 2017 Regal GMC Acadia, your starting lineup. At goalkeeper, number 0, Miguel Gallardo. And midfielder, number 5, Lucas Teixeira. And midfielder, number 22, Anthony Marico. And forward, number 9, Mauricio Salles. And defender, number 90, Lucas Montares. A forward and the assistant coach, number 10, Freddie The head coach of your Florida Tropics is Mr. Clay Roberts. Ladies and gentlemen, your Florida Tropics! At this time, we ask you to please rise as we now honor America and celebrate its freedom and those who protect it. Continue standing as one nation and one people for the singing of our national anthem, performed by James Mancuso alongside the Kathleen High School Color Guard.
Tonight's starting lineups brought to you by the good folks at Regal Auto. Polk County's best prices, selection, and service. Check us out on regallakeland.com today or stop by our Chevy or Kia stores on Highway 98 or Honda, Acura, and GM stores on Lakeland Hills Boulevard.
Now, fans, please direct your attention to the field where tonight's MC, Miss Florida, is the Tropics goalkeeper, Miguel Gallardo.
Just a couple of minutes away from kickoff, we're going to head down to the field. Here's an interview with Miguel Gallardo.
Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for your support. Really excited for the game.
Okay, I just have a couple questions before we start tonight's game. You, of course, were an all-star with Orlando City, but of course that's outdoor soccer. So what is the key to adapting your skill to the arena game?
Honestly, I'm very blessed to be surrounded by a great group of athletes, great group of guys that are really taking me under their wing and really teaching me the ropes. I feel confident in my abilities throughout my career, but it's a new game, it's a new chapter, and I really love the challenge.
Awesome, and you kind of mentioned it, but of course you're new with the Tropics. but what has impressed you the most about the team?
Honestly, the talent of these guys. I mean, it's crazy. You guys have guys that played all over the world with tons of experience, but also they're a really good group of guys. It's good people, and obviously that's a key for me for a good team.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I know we all appreciate it. Thank you so much, Miguel. And are you ready, Florida Tropics fans? Let's get this game started.
Thanks, Sarah. All right, Tropics fans, you know the rules. When I say Florida, I want
So we will learn together tonight about Miguel Gallardo, a chance to hear from him before kickoff. Obviously excited about his opportunity to about his opportunity to get the start tonight. Certainly no slight against Peter Sliwa, who has been terrific for the Tropics. If, in fact, Gallardo works out as well as Clay Roberts and the Tropics staff thinks he can, it really will be a tremendous potential advantage for Florida, as we said, as the season wears on and with all the back-to-back games that the Tropics will have on their schedule starting as soon as next weekend. So it'll be fun to watch Miguel tonight and see what he can bring to the pitch for this 3-1 Tropics team. As we mentioned, a busy night in the MASL. The Heat and St. Louis Ambush getting it on at the State Farm Show Arena in Harrisburg tonight. We'll keep an eye on that one. And the Baltimore Blast have a pretty good matchup at home against the Ontario Fury, and we will keep an eye on that one as well. Now, Syracuse and Ontario actually played the first weekend of the regular season out on the left coast, and that was the overtime loss that Syracuse suffered, one of those 3 one-goal losses that they have on the season so far. Great to have you on MASL TV tonight. We expect a good one. As we said, these two teams know how to fill the back of the net with a 14-8 and a 12-10 game on the ledger last year. We'll talk more about those games as the game moves on here tonight. Freddie Mugin, of course, out there for the Tropics, along with Anthony Arrico, Mauricio Salas up front. Freddie leading the team in points with 10 on 4 goals and 6 assists. Salas, the Tropics goals leader so far this year, with 6, and as we said, he had his career 200th just last season. Slavica Jubi Peripovic taken down, number 99. You'll hear his name a lot. He is one of the familiar names back with the Silver Knights this year. Here's the long shot, deflected by Monalera, stays in play. You can bet that Syracuse is going to shoot from just about every angle and every spot on the floor early on to test out Gallardo. There's an intercept. Chance for a counter 3-on-2 if the Tropics hurry. Ahead to Mugin. Mugin shot off the boards, tried to get it in front to Arrico, but couldn't quite control it, and the Tropics will send it back out to midfield to reset the offense and get some fresh legs out there. Monaleras to Pereira. Line change complete both ways now. Here's Ricardo Dieguez. Dieguez had big games against Syracuse last year. Here's a long ball into Dieguez. Controls in front of Andrew Coughlin, but a good defensive play in there by Jake Schindler to deny Ricardo Dieguez the first good scoring chance of the night. Here's a takeaway. Here's Pereira's with a Pereira shot to go! A giveaway by the Silver Knights, and Victor Pereiras makes good from about 40 feet. And less than 90 seconds into the game, the Tropics have a 1-0 lead. Well, we saw Florida pressure Baltimore a couple of
chance of the night. Here's a takeaway. Here's Pereiras with a Pereira shot to go!
Perfectly placed shot by Pereiras. And for Victor, that is his 3rd goal of the season. And an early 1-0 lead for the Tropics. Well, we saw We saw this last year here, and who knows, we may be in for another barn burner tonight. Yubi with it. Parapovich tries to get it in front, and Robbie Aristodemo just clears it out. Tyrone Hall with some pressure, and Coughlin will back towards his own goal to control it. Up to Yubi Parapovich, being watched by the hero against the Baltimore Blast, Lucas Teixeira, the man who scored the goal with 20 seconds to play. Pressure on Gallardo again. It's Tavernisi with the pressure. Joey, the leading scorer for the Silver Knights. No surprise there. Canardo Forbes also right up there among the leaders for Syracuse. Tavernisi with 5 goals and 5 assists so far this year. Aristodemo with it at the midfield circle will lay it off for Teixeira and head to the bench. Teixeira over to J.P. Reyes. Long ball now for Freddie Mugen deep in the right corner. Mugen tries to spin. Shot! He got a pretty good shot away, but it goes over top of the net. Wholesale change here for the Silver Knights after that shift. But a good opportunity for Freddie Mugen as the Tropics have an early 1-0 lead. Hey fans, don't forget you can win a brand new roof courtesy of the Florida Tropics and Comprehensive Roofing. Comprehensive Roofing for all your roofing needs and quality you can count on. Call them at 863-210-5583. Enter to win a new roof. Log on to fltropics.com/comprehensive roofing. Marco Rodriguez will control things. Left it off for Rico to Reyes and right back to Rodriguez. Rodriguez with a little space drives it into the Syracuse zone, but Dieguez could not come up with it. Comes back out to the center line. Rodriguez will control once again. No good chances really yet for Syracuse. Tropics have pretty much controlled play here for the first 3.5 minutes. Long ball into Dieguez. It's got Salas lurking in the box. Dieguez, little layoff, shot and a goal! Victor Pereiras again! His second of the night. Pretty assist by Ricardo Dieguez, and quickly Florida has a 2-0 lead.
Tropics have pretty much controlled play here for the first 3.5 minutes. Long ball into Dieguez. Got Salas lurking in the box. Dieguez, little layoff, shot and a goal!
To the far side, and Ryan Hall wants a timeout. Not at all happy with the start here by his Syracuse Silver Knights, as just 3.5 minutes into the game, the Tropics have a 2-0 lead. Victor Pereiras with his 3rd and 4th goals of the season. So Victor now has 8 points, moves him into 2nd overall in scoring now on the team. We mentioned those games last year. It wasn't Pereiras so much that did all the damage as it was Ricardo Dieguez, although Ricardo, of course, picks up an assist on that goal. But you go back to that 12-10 win here last February, and Ricardo had 5 points that night. Dieguez with 3 goals and 2 assists. Freddie Mugen also had a hat trick in that game and an assist for a 4-point night. And Yubi Parapovich for Syracuse had a 3-point night, all goals, a hat trick for Yubi Parapovich. And that was a record for the Tropics that night. They scored 6 times in the first quarter. Coughlin with it. Pressure again by the Tropics. Ahead now to Salas. Salas with a shot, and that just misses on the far post. The Tropics with all kinds of pressure here early on. Monolaris will play it now. Over to Teixeira. Teixeira, long ball to Robbie Aristodemo, and it came up and hit him in the arm. Unfortunately, took a bad bounce for Aristodemo, or he would have had a very good scoring opportunity as well. Had a car accident or have a personal injury, then look to Brooks, our official injury attorneys of the Tropics. Go to brookslawgroup.com or call 1-800-LAW-3030 for more information. Look to Brooks, the Brooks Law Group. Intercept now. Here's again for the Tropics. Aristodemo over to Monolaris. He tried to go across field to Mugin, but it was intercepted by Syracuse. This is Nate Bordeaux with it. Bordeaux will head off on a line change. Forbes in the center circle. He's got a runner down the right side. It's Parapovich. Parapovich wins the loose ball, gets it in front. Still loose in there, and Gallardo dives out and takes it off the foot of Canardo Forbes. First really good chance, although they didn't really get a shot away for the Tropics, or for the Silver Knights, rather. And Forbes will take it away now from Salas. Long ball down to one of the Syracuse forwards. I don't believe it's Patrick Thompson, even though he's wearing number 88, because I believe he was supposed to be suspended for tonight. He got a one-game suspension for making contact with an official. Here's a dangerous restart opportunity for Syracuse now from the top of the penalty arc. Tropics with a three-man wall. Let's see who pulls the trigger. Bordeaux is there. He'll be the dummy. Shot goes wide by UB Parapovich. And then Forbes tried to pull the trigger, and Arico was able to step in front of that. Tropics did a very nice job with a lot of blocks. Here's a chance in on a Gallardo shot and a goal.
Goal for the Syracuse Silver Knights.
Believe that may have been Tavernisi. And it was, as he just forced his way on the near boards and just kept pressing and was able to get it between Gallardo's legs, I believe. And
Step in front of that. Tropics did a very nice job with a lot of blocks. Here's a chance in on a Gallardo shot and a goal. Goal for the Syracuse Silver.
really controlled play here for the first 5 or 6 minutes, but the Silver Knights get a much-needed score from their leading scorer to cut it to 2-1. And here's UB Parapovich with it again. Pressure now out at the midfield circle by Maicon Franca. Ben Rahman gets it. Intercepted by Rodriguez, and the Tropics will control Franca. In there tonight, as we said, for Lucas Catino. Catino off on a trial for an outdoor team. And certainly wish him luck, but would love to see him back in a Tropics uniform. He has got some really serious skills. Here's Salas in the corner. Little bicycle kick as it took a funny hop off the boards. Aristodemo tries to keep it alive, but Syracuse will control, and here's a long ball ahead to Schindler. Schindler gets it. Gallardo with a good idea, although he kicks it out of play, and that wasn't exactly what he wanted. Good anticipation by Gallardo there to come out and take away the scoring chance, but he got a little too much under the ball and put it up over the glass and into the crowd. So, and I believe that, well, it'll either, I guess it's going to come from the top of the arc. I thought for a moment they were going to call a corner kick. Either way, it comes again from a dangerous spot. Forbes is out there. Bordeaux again at the top of the arc. This time he'll lay it off for Forbes. Shot, and that just misses far post. Parapovich can't keep it in. Here's a chance for the Tropics. Diegas with it. Diegas 3-on-2 for the Tropics. Gets it over to Rodriguez. Shot, save! Coughlin, his best of the night as he dove to his right. Good shot by Marco Rodriguez. And Rodriguez going to be called for the foul in front of the Florida bench. Tavernisi with it again in the corner, being double-teamed by Rodriguez and Monolaris. That's Lucas squared for the Tropics. Syracuse will keep possession. Taken away again by Florida. Teixeira. Let's see what he can do with it. Gets it left side. That's Freddie Mugin with it, deep in the corner. Had Salas in front, couldn't get it to him, and it'll come all the way back now to Teixeira. It was actually Anthony Arico on that opportunity up front. J.P. Reyes has it now. Over to Victor, and now back to Teixeira. He'll play it to Gallardo. Victor with a fresh haircut tonight. Here's Tyrone Hall being pressured, so he'll play it back to Gallardo. First time we've seen Miguel stray out to the midfield line. Long ball into the Syracuse zone. Controlled now out at the midfield by Forbes. Canardo Forbes, long shot. That didn't miss by much. Had a little bend on that one, and it got by Gallardo and was just wide. Here's Jelinek. Jelinek gets it in front, and Forbes on the redirect. It's covered by Gallardo. Gets it up on the left wing to Teixeira. Bothered there by Thompson. Here's Diegues with it. Little layoff to Aristodamo. He's taken down. Here's a chance now in front. Shot by Franca and a save by Coughlin. He's made two big saves now here. Again, Franca with some pressure. Dribbled out of there by Schindler. Still some pressure. Now Aristodamo right back to Franca. Bangs it in front. And a goal! Well, the Tropics will take it. It's an own goal because it banged off Bo Jelinek in front. But Franca trying to play it in front to a couple of Tropics players that were there. Never got there.
Schindler, still some pressure. Now Aristodamo right back to Franca. Bangs it in front. And a goal!
The Syracuse zone and keeping that play alive. And sometimes in indoor soccer, that's really all you need to do is keep the play alive, and silly things can happen sometimes, and that's kind of the case there. But as I said, the Tropics will take it, and they lead it now by a 3-1 score. Do we have 6 in the first quarter again tonight for the Tropics? They've got almost 6 minutes in which to do it. Lanier Upshaw has a passion for embracing the upside of risk to elevate results. So shot and a goal. So Syracuse quickly back to cut it to 3-2. We'll tell you about Lanier Upshaw in just a moment. But just like that, Syracuse is back within 1. So it does appear that we have another crazy one on tap here tonight between Syracuse and Florida. J.P. Reyes with it for the Tropics. We'll get the scorer for you in just a moment. Statistician is going to be the busiest guy here tonight. Here's a long ball into the zone. Knocked away nicely by Schindler. Battle in the corner as Diegues tries to keep it alive. Forbes comes out of there with it for Syracuse. He's got Ben Rahman ahead of the field, but knocked away by the Tropics defense, deflected out of bounds off Syracuse.
Local award-winning home builder Southern Homes is a neighbor you can trust. Log on to mysouthernhome.com for information and locations when considering your new home.
Here's Teixeira with it. Over to Pereiras. Tries to get it down to Mugin, but intercepted there by Darren Toby. He'll play it back to Coughlin. Pressure by Franca, and Franca almost stole it. Recovered in there by the Silver Knights. Teixeira, though, bangs it back into the Syracuse zone. Freddie thought about the bicycle kick. Didn't quite time it exactly right, which, of course, you have to do. So Darren Toby gets the goal just 8 seconds after the Tropics had taken a 2-1 lead. On that goal credited to Mike and Franca, which was the own goal that went in off Bo Jelinek. Here's Aristodamo. Into the Syracuse zone and cleared out of there by Thompson. Marco Salas with it now at the midfield line. Looks for some help. Finds it in the form of J.P. Reyes. Now to Rodriguez. Aristodemo will head down a line change to the Florida bench. And Anthony Arrico steps on, playing a forward position mainly here tonight so far. J.P. Reyes feeds it to Arrico. Arrico pushes it to the middle of the field. Shot, save Coughlin. Rebound, shot, and Coughlin to save again as Diegues was cruising near the goal line. Liam Callahan with it for Syracuse now. Coughlin has come up with some big saves after a little bit of a shaky start. Here's Jelinek trying to atone and taken away nicely by Rodriguez, and Hall is there for the counter. Hall, one-on-one against Forbes, and he will pull it back now all the way to Miguel Gallardo as Hall will go off on a line change. J.P. Reyes tries to feed it down to Mugin, intercepted by Franca. Maicon Franca with his goal, his second of the season here tonight. Here's a long ball down to Tavernisi. Tavernisi, oh, nice defensive play by Reyes. He had Canardo Forbes all alone in front, and J.P. Reyes broke it up beautifully. But here's Forbes, he's dangerous, and cleared out of there by Pereiras. Goes over the sideboards, and it'll be a restart from the top of the penalty arc. Tremendous defensive play right there by J.P. Reyes. 2:25 to play here in the first quarter. Syracuse arguing that it should be a restart from the top of the penalty arc, but they're going to call it just a kick in from the sideline outside the red line. So a good break there for Florida. Forbes on top to Schindler. Down low to Tavernisi. Couple players go down, and Tavernisi's going to be called on the retaliation. Pressure by the Silver Knights again, but Teixeira will control. Gets it to Salas. Intercept by Syracuse. It's Tavernisi over to Forbes. This is the number one line with UB Parapovich out there. Now over to Forbes. Forbes with a shot. Denied in front. Good defensive play by Lucas Montoleros. Here's a run now by Pereiras up the left side. He'll put the brakes on, and Tavernisi will intercept for Syracuse. Forbes to Dominic Vitale. Vitale will head to the Syracuse bench. Forbes across the floor to Jelinek. Jelinek being watched by Salas. Salas deep into the corner, trying to get it out of harm's way, and he will lose that battle as Forbes comes up with it outside the red line, being pressured by Diegues. Syracuse with an opportunity now in the Florida zone, and they'll pull it back out. On top to Darren Toby. Jelinek feeds it over to Tavernisi, and to Jelinek again. Comes Schindler with it. Schindler over the red line. He may take a shot. He does. It's wide, short side. Diegues using his body, tried to shield away from Liam Callahan, but the Silver Knights keep it alive, and Gallardo will play it off the boards and cover up. Here's Aristodemo. Dangerous situation. He has it taken away. There's a shot. Great save. Gallardo got a piece of it. His best save of the game right there, as Aristodemo had his pocket picked from behind here in the final seconds. And Florida very fortunate to go to the first quarter break, leading it 3-2 as Miguel Gallardo gets congratulations from his teammates for his save in the dying seconds. Lanier Upshaw has a passion for embracing the upside of risk to elevate results. Celebrating 75 years in the community of elevating results, Lanier Upshaw is your go-to for business or personal insurance needs. For more information, visit lanierupshaw.com. Lanier Upshaw, the upside of risk. Good crowd here tonight in Lakeland. The EA Smiles fan cam, always a big hit. Our thanks to EA Smiles, one of our many corporate partners that make Florida Tropics soccer possible, along with Kimley Horn and Associates, Fern Wegman Architects, the Fun Bike Center, and Papa John's Pizza. We thank them for their support all season long as the new Lady Tropics dance team out throwing T-shirts to the crowd. They are making their debut at halftime tonight. So pretty wild and woolly first 15 minutes. Victor Pereira's opening the scoring, just 1:26 into the game, and then Pereira's is second of the night. Barely 2 minutes later, that came at 3:41 to make it a 2-0 game. Tavernisi with a goal at 5:34 to cut it to 2-1. Franca credited with the goal that went in off Jelovic, made it 3-1 at 8:59. And then Darren Toby on an assist from Ubi Parapovic at 9:07 made it 3-2. And both goaltenders, Andrew Coughlin and Miguel Gallardo, making his first ever start in the MASL tonight with some big saves in the final minutes of the quarter to keep it as a 3-2 score. Can tell you out of town tonight that Harrisburg has an early 2-0 lead on St. Louis. We do not have a report yet from Baltimore on the Fury and the Blast. A couple of games also out west or the Midwest tonight. Good matchup in Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Wave and the Kansas City Comets playing up in Milwaukee. Two of the teams battling in the Eastern Conference's Midwest Division. Of course, with Cedar Rapids in there as well, playoff spots will be hard to come by in the Midwest this year too. But none harder than in the East. Here's Pedro Ivo Diaz, his first shift, I believe, tonight. Gets it up to Tyrone Hall, and he'll play it all the way back to Gallardo. Join the winning team at Sykes. Sykes is one of the world's leading customer service and digital solutions companies, and we're looking for people just like you to join our Lakeland team. Go to Sykes.com/jobs to get the ball rolling. Kick in for Syracuse. Forbes over to Jelovic, and he'll play it back now to Toby. Long ball into the box. Tavernisi being watched by Hall in front, and Gallardo will have no trouble cleaning up that situation. Here's Ivo Diaz, tries to feed it ahead for Arico, goes a little far, and Florida wants a line change anyway. We'll see how it plays out in the second half, but Forbes, Ubi Parapovic, and Tavernisi getting a ton of time here in the first half to be sure. This is Tavernisi being watched by Monaleros. Tried to feed it in front, but that pass was denied. He was looking for Bordeaux, making a run. Here's Schindler banged into the boards. Long ball up to Ricardo Diegues. Diegues with Forbes on him and taken down, no whistle. Diegues still with it, and he's a little frustrated, and he'll be called for the foul. Ricardo, I'm sure, felt that he deserved a foul to be called the first time he and Forbes collided, but no whistle was forthcoming. Intercept nicely by Teixeira. Teixeira into Diegues. Diegues misfires in front. Pereira's trying to make a run. Still loose in there. Teixeira tries to stick a leg in there, can't do it. Here's Tavernisi with it. Plays it back to Jelovic. Pressure by Pereiras on the far side, and he'll head to the bench as Forbes has it for Syracuse now. Coughlin will come out over his own red line. Mujin pressure on Darren Toby and back to Forbes. Play has settled down a little bit from the first 8 or 9 minutes, which were pretty wild. Aristodemo with some pressure. Taken away by Mujin. He wanted to see if he could catch Coughlin out of the net and tried the long shot but didn't quite strike it properly. And Syracuse able to recover as Toby has it. Coughlin will now come out to the neutral zone. Looks for Tavernisi, being watched by Reyes. Tavernisi taken down by Reyes. No whistle there. Mujin has it. No real help, so he'll play it back to Teixeira. Teixeira gets it ahead to Mauricio Salas. He's been a little quiet here so far. Back to Teixeira. Now to Reyes. JP with it. And he'll play it back to Miguel Gallardo. To Ivo Diaz. Tropics trying to set something up here. Here's the long ball through to Ivo Diaz. Got Tyrone Hall making a run. Diaz with it. Plays it to Diegues. Diegues to Ivo Diaz's shot. Misses short side. Coming in is Arico. Arico steps through. Has it in the near corner. Shot, and that's blocked in front. Arico gets it back out for Hall. And Florida will retain possession here. Ivo Diaz played his college ball right down the road at Southeastern University, where Clay Roberts, the Tropics coach, is also the men's soccer coach for the Fire, so knows Pedro well. Pedro has suited up every game so far this year for Florida. Here's Diegues. Gets it to Ivo Diaz. Ivo Diaz will control on the right side to Monteleros. Now to Franca. Mike on Franca. Shot, and that just missed. Just outside the far post. Good idea by Franca there. Ivo Diaz steps up. Steals. Ivo Diaz looks for some help. Moves to the top of the arc. Shot, and that's blocked in front by Ubi Parapovic, of all people. Good play by Slavisa. Getting back, helping out defensively. Pereiras with it. Pereiras to Freddie. Freddie turns. Shot! Oh, and that just misses. Great opportunity. Freddie's like, where's the foul? Just like the game against Baltimore here on November 18th, both the on-floor officials letting the teams play here tonight. Vince DiNardo and Alexander Rostang are the officials on the floor tonight, and they have certainly let the two teams go. It's been physical both ways, to be sure. Here's Yelovac on the counter, being watched by Teixeira. There's a shot, Gallardo with a save. Gets it ahead now for Salas. Tried to find Diegues down the field. Diegues and Schindler collide. Syracuse will control pressure by the Tropics. Comes all the way back to Monteleros at the midfield circle and over to Robbie Aristodemo. Florida will send out fresh legs. Here's the long ball down for Freddie, and Schindler will play it back to Coughlin, who just does get there in time. Here's Aristodemo. He misses the tackle. Here's Ben Rahman with it. Good recovery by Ty Hall as he flies into the boards, but helped break up what looked to be a good scoring opportunity. Here's a shot blocked by Reyes. Maximum effort there by Tyrone Hall to get back into the play after Robbie Aristodemo gambled and lost out near the midfield line. No goals here in the second quarter after 5 in the first. Here's a shot, and again a block, this time Freddie Mujin on the restart. Forbes being watched by Hall, and he'll get it all the way back to Andrew Coughlin. Long ball down to Tavernisi. Being watched by Reyes. Couple of good veterans right there, one-on-one. Here's Ubi Parapovic into the left corner, and he fires wide. Forbes picks up the rebound. Plays it out to Toby. Ubi Parapovic will head to the Syracuse bench. Ball there now to Toby. Taken away by Reyes right to Gallardo, and Gallardo will clear the zone. Didn't have anybody downfield, but he had a lot of black and silver in the box there and decided to just make sure he got it out of trouble. Not a bad idea when you're making your first start in the professional arena game. Here's a ball up to Schindler. Schindler, long shot well wide, picked up on the rebound by Bordeaux, and it's deflected out of play. Kick in for the Tropics. Take a media timeout here. Remind you that one of our great sponsors is Sonny's Barbecue. Not only are they a great sponsor, but it'll be a great place to have our first ever watch party with Sonny's Barbecue. That comes up on December 9th when the Tropics and Syracuse Silver Knights play in what is the second game of essentially a back-to-back situation. The Tropics go on the road next weekend for a game Saturday in Syracuse, Sunday in Baltimore, and we'll have a watch party at Sonny's Barbecue. We'll tell you more about that in just a moment. We'll take a break. It's 3-2 Florida. This is Soccer Night Florida on MASL.TV.
Hi everyone, I'm Shannon Estelle. I just wanted to say hi and hope you enjoyed tonight's game. When you're done here, go over to my YouTube channel to get to know me a little bit better. And yeah, enjoy the game. Go Tropics.
Clay Roberts, the Tropics coach, Ryan Hall, the Syracuse coach, talking a little strategy. We'll hopefully get a chance to talk with both of them live at half with Sarah Zeng, our wonderful on-field reporter, and the reigning Miss Florida, by the way. Telling you about the watch party December 9th at Sonny's Barbecue. That'll be at the 98 North location. Of course, Sonny's has two, 98 North and South Florida Avenue. For the best barbecue experience you could ever want, it's Sonny's Barbecue. Whether it's a quick lunch or a family meal, you will leave happy and full, especially if the Tropics can beat Syracuse during that watch party. That comes up December 9th. That's the US 98 North location for Sonny's Barbecue here in Lakeland. A quiet second quarter after a rather tumultuous start. Here's a layoff for Ivo Diaz, and Jelic was able to intercept. Pressure again by the Tropics. Here's Franca. Gets it over to Diego's shot, and a goal! Ricardo Dieguez with his first of the game. And the Tropics extend the lead to 2.
Jelic was able to intercept. Pressure again by the Tropics. Here's Franco. Gets it over to Diego's shot, and a goal!
So Franca with a goal now and an assist here tonight. And it's 4-2 Florida. Let's see if the Tropics can keep Syracuse from a quick answer, which has been part of the Knights' MO so far here in the first half. Here's an intercept by the Tropics, and Arico just missed, or he might have been able to send Mauricio Salas in on a breakaway. Here's Freddie Mugin with an intercept. And a good defensive play by Vitali. Now to Forbes. Forbes will put it in front, and Vitali just misses the redirect. Syracuse again with quick pressure right after a Florida goal. All the way back now out to Bordeaux and finally back to Coughlin. Pressure by Arico again. Forbes will control it. Gets it up now to Schindler. Schindler gets by one Tropic player, but here's Pereiras on a counter now. Pereiras leaves it off for Mugin. Pereiras just couldn't quite create enough space for himself there to break out into the open, but almost. Looking for the hat trick here in the first quarter. Pereiras has it. Ahead to Dieguez. Dieguez to Pereiras. Pereira's down the left side, gets it in front. Dieguez with a redirect, and it's a little high. Boy, a great opportunity for Dieguez and his second goal of the game, and just did get under it a little bit too much. Pereira's and Dieguez, of course, longtime teammates in college with UT Brownsville, where they both set all kinds of offensive marks. They played together for the Barracudas a couple of seasons ago before they were the RGV Barracudas. They were the Brownsville Barracudas then, and of course teammates all last season, both indoors here with the Florida Tropics and outdoors this past summer with their sister franchise, the Lakeland Tropics of the USL Premier Development League. In fact, it was Ricardo who led the outdoor team with 10 goals. Shot! Saved Gallardo as Jelinek let it fly, and Ubi Parapovic with contact on Miguel Gallardo, and Ubi Parapovic will be whistled for the foul. The Lakeland Tropics finishing third this summer in the USL PDL. Dieguez with 10 goals to pace the outdoor team. Of course, Dieguez was tied with Freddie Mugin last year for the team lead in goals. They each had 17, and Ricardo missed a month of the season with a leg injury. Here's Aristodemo. Didn't really have anybody to get the ball to. Steals it back now, though, at the red line. Gets it into Pereira's. Pereira's shot near post, and that just bangs wide. And actually, that was Franca. Lycon Franca, who's had a very good first half. Cleared ahead, Monaleras to Franca. He'll get it back all the way to Teixeira, now all the way back to Gallardo. Franca to Monaleras, ahead to Arico, being watched by Ubi Parapovic. And he takes it away from Arico. Bangs into Ubi a couple of times. Mugin cross floor to Coughlin with Freddie lurking. Ball will stay in play for Monaleras. Tried to get it far side to Monaleras, couldn't do it. Here's a 2-on-1 chance maybe for the Silver Knights. Jelinek, though, well marked in there, and here's Callahan. Liam Callahan getting some regular time tonight. Syracuse will go on a line change with inside 4 minutes to go in the half. 4-2 Florida, bidding for their fourth win of the season. Schindler with it. Bordeaux down to Forbes. Forbes looks for some help. Can't find it, and it's knocked out of there by Freddie Mugin. But Syracuse will control in the midfield. Arico taken down, and a foul on Dominic Vitale. Don't forget, fans, visit fltropics.com/comprehensive roofing for your chance to win a free roof. That's all courtesy of the Tropics and our friends at Comprehensive Roofing. All you have to do is log in and tell us why you deserve and need a new roof, and you might just be a winner. And you know, after Hurricane Irma blew through in September, there's a lot of homes in Central Florida in need of roof repair, and Comprehensive Roofing is where you want to go to get that work done. They are online, or you can call them at 863-210-5583. Dieguez with it at the red line. Gets it over to Pereiras. Tropics would really like at least maybe another one, Salas, before the half. And certainly want to keep Syracuse off the score sheet. Ivo Diaz with it. Over to Victor. Pereiras. Shot. Oh, and Coughlin makes a good save. Boy, that was almost by him, and he dove to his right and just did get a hand on it. Coughlin has played pretty well here in the first half despite the 4 Tropics goals. Certainly can't blame him on the last couple. Aristodemo with it. He was being watched out there by Callahan. Now Ivo Diaz will Play it to Gallardo, who comes out to the midfield area. Long ball in for Freddie. Heads it to Tyrone Hall. Hall in the corner, has 2 men on him, so he'll play it all the way back out to the midfield line for Rodriguez to Aristodemo. Long ball in for Mugin. Mugin looks for some help. Can't find it, and we'll play it over to Monaleris to Rodriguez. Tropics happy to play a little bit of possession here. As they said, they'll be content to go to the intermission with a 4-2 lead, but they would really like to get another one. Franca with it. He'll leave it go through to Mugin. Freddie trying to turn. Leaves it off for Monaleris. Oh, he was looking for a Rico in front, and there's a weak shot by Mugin that Coughlin is able to handle easily. Inside 35 seconds now to play. Coughlin will feed it to the midfield to UB Peripovic. Tries to get it ahead to Canardo Forbes. It'll be picked up in there by Rahman. Forbes knocked out of there by Rodriguez. Long ball into the Syracuse zone. Again picked up by Forbes in front. UB Peripovic, long shot off the boards. Jelinek can't control it, and it'll be a goal kick for the Tropics, who looks like they will indeed go to intermission with a 4-2 lead. So after 5 goals in the first 9 minutes of the first quarter, just 1 goal since then, and that came off the foot of Ricardo Diegues on the nice assist by Franca. So halftime here in Lakeland on Sykes Field at the RP Funding Center. We hope to have a word or two with Clay Roberts, the Tropics coach, here in just a minute, and we'll kind of see what his assessment was of the first 30 minutes and what his message to the Tropics team might be at intermission. As always, we thank Sarah Zhang, Miss Florida, for handling our duties on floor tonight, and we hope to have a chat with Ryan Hall before the start of the third quarter. Here's Sarah with Coach Clay Roberts.
Here with me tonight, so I just wanted to ask you a couple questions. After watching the first half of action, how do you assess your team's play?
We started out well, and Syracuse is a fantastic team. We knew that they have a lot of firepower, and so not surprised that they're on the board, but we have to do a little bit better defensively. But right now we're in a good place, and we just got to keep this rhythm.
Absolutely. So what will be your team's key to success for the second half?
We're taking too many risks defensively, so we just need to clean that up a little bit. But we want to keep it exciting, we want to keep the pace fast, and score some more goals.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Clay. And let's move on to our halftime entertainment tonight.
Thank you, Sarah, with Florida coach.
And now, please help us in welcoming for the very first time perform on Sykes Field, your Lady Tropics
defensive risks that Florida was taking, something that Clay Roberts will talk to his club about. Obviously, you need to take some risks, but they need to be calculated and good ones, and hopefully you stay on your feet, too, because once you make that sliding attempt and you're out of the play, then you really have to rely on teammates to help you recover, and we did see that from Florida in the first half, but sooner or later that will end up burning you. A couple of games out of town to tell you about that are underway that, as we mentioned, are of particular interest to both of these teams playing here tonight. The Baltimore Blast hosting the Ontario Fury, and they are into the second quarter now in Baltimore with the Blast leading that one 3-2. And in Harrisburg tonight at the State Farm Show Arena, the Harrisburg Heat leading the St. Louis Ambush. That's actually early in the second quarter, by a score of 4-2. So we'll keep an eye on that. As we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Florida a half game up on both Baltimore and Harrisburg in the Eastern Division here in the early going of the 2017-18 season. We will take a break after we take a look at the new Lady Tropics dance team on the floor tonight, making their debut for the Tropics. When we come back after the dance team coverage, we will talk with Chris Economides. He is the Chief Operating Officer of the Tropics. This is Soccer Night Florida on MASL.TV.
Visit MLTropics.com/LadyTropics.
When it comes to Medicare Advantage plans, here's some great news from Care Plus. With the Carefree plan, you may be able to get a $94 reduction on your Medicare Part B premium every month. That's up to $1,128 a year back in your Social Security check. Plus, no more than $3,400 in out-of-pocket expenses and $0 copays on Tier 1 and 2 prescription drugs. The annual enrollment period is here and ends December 7th, so call today. There's always a plus in Care Plus. When it comes to Medicare Advantage plans, here's some great news from Care Plus. With the Carefree plan, you may be able to get a $94 reduction on your Medicare Part B premium every month. That's up to $1,128 a year back in your Social Security check. Plus, no more than $3,400 in out-of-pocket expenses and $0 copays on Tier 1 and 2 prescription drugs. The annual enrollment period is here and ends December 7th, so call today. There's always a plus in Care Plus.
I love my job truly because of the people.
I'm actually looking forward to stepping into the office every single day.
I love working at Sykes because I love talking to people from around the country and just hearing their story.
I like the customer interaction.
And it helps me feel that I'm being part of something bigger than myself.
And the reason I love my job is the opportunity to make such great relationships with so many different people.
I work in a family more than at an actual call center.
I love my job.
Back here in Lakeland, Florida, the RP Funding Center, Sykes Field. Good to have you along. Florida Tropics and the Syracuse Silver Knights at halftime, with the Tropics leading it by a score of 4-2. And happy to be joined here at intermission with the Chief Operating Officer of the Florida Tropics. That's Chris Economides, who is might have been in this game longer than I have, believe it or not.
There we go.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's all right. No.
Technical difficulties. But
okay.
Now we've got Chris with us. So, Chris, let's talk a little bit just about the Tropics in general this year. Off to a really good start, 3-1, and certainly in the offseason, you guys kind of made the determination, it would appear, and more importantly, I guess, the investment to bring in some talent to you guys have said from day one you want to win, and really seems like you've stepped up to that commitment this year.
Dr. Panajakovitis, myself, the entire organization, made a commitment. I thought we had it for a first-year team last year, Brian. I thought we did very, very well. It came down to the last week of the season. We were fighting for a playoff spot. But, we were just 1 or 2 players away, or maybe 3 or 4 players away. But we've gone out, and obviously a year of experience makes all the difference in the world. We've gone out. We've gotten some really top-notch players. Obviously a player like Mauricio Salas, who's been a stalwart in this league for many, many years. Plus the guys have a year of experience under their belts. So you wouldn't combine that, and plus we've got a couple of Brazilian guys that are coming in this week, actually, that are top-notch indoor players in Brazil, and we're also working on a couple other moves. But so far, it's been a great start to the season. Arguably the biggest win in franchise history. A couple weeks ago against the Baltimore Blast.
Yeah, that was exciting.
A storied franchise. But it's a process. I think we've gotten a little bit quicker than we thought that we would. We still got a ways to go.
And I think, in my opinion, just as importantly as the new guys, is you really kept the core together. The top 7 scorers from last year are all back this year, obviously with guys like Freddie and Ricardo and Victor Pereras. That was, I think, is important to keep that group together, and as you point out, now that they've had a year of indoor experience, that's made them just better players too.
Well, that, and I think from a fan continuity standpoint also, so the fans can identify with the players. You know, when people ask, you know, from my days in Rochester, what some key elements to success were, it was that we had a core. We had a nucleus of players that the fans could identify to. They became entrenched in the community, and that's what we're trying to do here also. These guys live here year-round now. They're part of the community. They coach teams in the area. And so I think that goes a long way also in helping to build your fan base.
One of the new players that you brought in, we're seeing for the first time tonight in Miguel Gallardo, and we know what a phenomenal career he had outdoors with nearby Orlando City, leading them to USL championships and really being one of the key players to lay the foundation for that franchise to make the move to MLS and making his debut tonight for the Tropics. Your thoughts on Miguel in the first half and what you expect going forward from him?
Well, I mean, obviously he's a very seasoned professional. You know, the indoor game is obviously very different
a little bit
from the outdoor game. I think Miguel had some butterflies early on.
Yeah.
Showed a little bit, I thought. But again, he's a seasoned pro. I think he's done, you know, fine so far. You know, what the bigger question is, you know, sort of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, so but I give Coach Roberts credit. You know, I mean, when you have 2 quality keepers, you know, in your lineup, I think they both have to play. And you know what? I'll tell you a quick interesting story, Brian. Is Peter has stopped by the office about 2 weeks ago, and I'll commend somebody when they're doing well, and when they're not doing well, I say, well, you know, you can pick it up a notch. So I commended Peter on saying, hey, you know, you're playing really, really well this year. And he sort of shyly nodded. He says, yeah, because I got somebody pushing me now. You know,
yeah,
so,
a little competition doesn't hurt.
Exactly.
There's no question that Peter's played the best he's played. Certainly.
Yes, he's been phenomenal.
Yeah,
so far.
He's been great. And the way this, we talked a little bit about this during the Baltimore broadcast, and again a little bit tonight. I've mentioned it. The fact that I think there's still 5 times this year that we have to play back-to-back games, and some of those are on the road. A couple of them are at home. But when you have that, it's certainly a luxury for a lot of teams, but it's a great advantage potentially to have 2 goaltenders of that caliber.
Absolutely.
That you can call on to have fresh legs in there maybe for that second night if the case may call for it.
Absolutely. You know, each team in this league goes through it. You know, I mean, even, you know, Baltimore and Cedar Rapids are, you know, the first 2 games here. You know, Cedar Rapids had a very tough game in Baltimore, then got in here literally at 7 o'clock, you know, for the game 7:30,
yeah, right.
You know, so, and they were phenomenal. You know, it was a great game. Baltimore, same thing. They played Syracuse the night before, flew in here, got a little earlier than 7 o'clock, but still, I mean, it was a great game. So, you know what? Each team goes through it. You know, it's the, you know, that's how it is in this league. You're going to play back-to-backs. It's going to be a demanding schedule, and it all evens out.
And one of the things that I think is really becoming apparent, and you see it this year with some of the things that you guys are doing off the field and with the community, and as much as you want to win and bring a championship here to Lakeland, really integrating the franchise and the Tropics as an organization into the community is equally important and an equally big goal. And give us an idea of how that came about and some of the things that you're doing this year. Tonight I know we're recognizing kids on the floor in the goal program for increasing their reading scores, for example, in school, as one example of reaching out into the community. And just talk about why that's become so important and has become such a goal of this franchise.
Well, first of all, it starts with Dr. Yakovidis. I mean, this is a passion for him. This is his hometown. I hope to make it my hometown someday, but right now I commute from here to Clearwater. But all this is about Dr. Yakovidis. You know, he's trying to give back to the community. You know, this community is his home. It's been good to him, and this is how he sees a small way to give back. And that involves, you know, doing all the hosting things you said. We've got, you know, a person like Nikki Swangard, who's the head of our community relations department with the Tropics, and a full-time school teacher. She's the one that initiated this program, but it's been a tremendous success. You know, just us merging together with Lakeland Football Club. You know, I mean, there's another thing where you got 2,000 families now that are part of the family. You know, we've made tremendous progress. You know, I'm full of analogies and adages, and they say that Rome wasn't built in a day. Certainly taken a little longer than 7 days, but you know what? I mean, we made tremendous progress.
Yeah.
You know, we got a very hardworking staff, and you know, I'm very, very proud of them, and a lot of hard work has gone into it. We got a long ways to go, but it starts at the top with Dr. Yakovitis and his vision for what he wants the Tropics to be, and for what the Tropics can be.
So one last question. This Eastern Division looks wide open and as competitive as heck this year. How many wins is it going to take, do you think, to make the postseason in this Eastern Division? When you look at Baltimore, obviously they're still the kings of the hill until proven otherwise. We know Syracuse is good. We know Harrisburg is good. We're good, we think. How do you see it playing out?
Well, I certainly hope it plays out with us on top. But, yeah, you know, flip a coin. I mean, Syracuse is 1-3. They could easily be 4-0.
Yeah.
You know, easily be 4-0. So, I mean, they're a quality team. Obviously, Baltimore, two-time defending champions. You know, Harrisburg last year was a playoff team, and there's no reason why, you know, they're not of the same ilk there. And then, obviously, we've upgraded ourselves. So it's going to be a dogfight. That's why I think these next 4 or 5 games are, you know, even though they're early in the year, they're very critical games. I think, you know, and I think, you know, Coach Roberts put it best, and we'll know pretty well where we're going to be, or at least the direction we're heading in after these next 5 or 6 games. So,
yeah, all division games against Baltimore, Harrisburg, and Syracuse, to be sure. And you're right. They all count the same now, whether they're in December or February. So the fact that we were 0-7 against Baltimore and Harrisburg last year was the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. So I agree 100% that these games here in December will go a long ways towards determining how the Tropics finish out. We're going to head down to the field in just a moment for an interview with Coach Hall. So, Chris, we thank you very much. Chris
thank you, Brian. As always, great job, Brian. Thank you so much.
We appreciate you stopping by. The Chief Operating Officer of the Florida Tropics, Chris Economides, as we get ready to talk with Coach Ryan Hall of the Syracuse Silver Knights. We'll get his thoughts on the first half. Of course, he called a very quick timeout to settle his troops after Victor Pereiras got 2 quick goals to start the game, and Ryan Hall was not all that pleased with the start, so we'll find out what he thinks as Miss Florida, Sarah Zhang, will talk with the coach in here just a couple of minutes. In fact, we're going to head down to the field right now, and we'll hear from Coach Ryan Hall of the Syracuse Silver Knights.
Hi Ryan, how are you doing tonight? Awesome, I'm doing great. Now tell us some of the thoughts you're having after watching the first half.
Yeah, no, I think Ford's done a great job possessing the ball and keeping our guys on for long periods of time, and that's wearing us down. We have to do a better job ourselves of keeping the ball and not letting us keep them on for 4 or 5 minutes at a time.
Of course. So now what is going to be your team's main focus going back into the second half?
We're staying composed under pressure, allowing us to dictate the flow of the game as opposed to letting Ford dictate, and hopefully we can keep the possession a little bit longer and run their legs down a little bit and even out the score.
Thank you so much.
Our thanks to
Sarah. And now, let's get back to Tropics action.
Sarah Zhang for our halftime interviews with Coach Clay Roberts and Syracuse coach Ryan Hall. Fans, one of the Tropics sponsors this year is Guardian Wealth Management, where your money is concerned. For personal service, innovative ideas, and practical advice, go to guardianwealth.net or call Guardian Wealth Management at 863-904-4760. And brought to you tonight by BioLife Plasma Services. They need your help, Lakeland, in saving lives. To learn how you can become a donor and get paid for your donations, visit biolifeplasma.com. 4-2 the score as we get ready to head to the third quarter. The quick recap of the first half. Of course, as you know, Victor Pereiras got things started in a hurry as he got on the board just 1:26 into the game and then added his second at 3:41. Joey Tavernisi at the 5:34 mark made it 2-1. And then the own goal that was credited to Maicon Franca made it 3-1 at 8:59, and just 8 seconds later, Darren Tobey made it 3-2. And it looked like we were in for a real barn burner, and it still may turn out to be that way, but only one goal the rest of the way in that first half, and that came from Ricardo Diegues at the 7:50 mark. Here is a steal by the Tropics. Salas with it. Salas plays it off the boards to himself, gets it across, and again, Freddie Mugin with a redirect, and it's just a little high. Second time tonight, Freddie has had a golden opportunity and just missed it. And I think at least the third time that's happened to the Tropics, but it's happened to Mugin twice. Gallardo will bring it up and play it deep into the Syracuse zone. Mugin trying to control it, looks for some help, and he'll finally play it back out to Teixeira. J.P. Reyes directs a little traffic, waits for his line mates to change. Gallardo with it. Ahead now, J.P. Reyes with a rare thrust into the offensive zone, but Schindler has it. Schindler for Syracuse bangs it off the boards to Yubi Parapovic. Here's a long ball all the way down to Rahman. Rahman with it. Syracuse will control out at the midfield line. Schindler will head to the bench on a change. Callahan now fed into the Florida zone. Tavernisi picks it up, leaves it off for Callahan. Knocked over the end boards, and this will be a restart for Syracuse, just inside the Florida red line. Pressure by Diegues. Syracuse will control, though. Rodriguez now watching Pereira. Here's Diegues on the takeaway. Diegues to Pereiras. Pereiras with a shot. Diegues almost had the rebound in front. Just toe poked out of there at the last minute. Good defensive play by Tobey. Pereiras will pick up the loose ball. And he'll end up playing it all the way back now to Reyes, who gets it ahead to Mauricio Salas. Salas. Long ball down to Mugin. Mugin didn't have anybody with him. Deflected over the sideboard, so it'll be a kick in for Lakeland, for the Tropics, rather. Lakeland Tropics, of course, the sister franchise of the Florida Tropics. They play outdoors. Gallardo will play it into the Syracuse zone. Mugin there. Mugin tried to play it off the boards, and again got a case of the upsies tonight. Put it up too high, and it goes over the glass and into the crowd. Phil Averbuck is your local criminal law attorney. Go to averbucklaw.com or give him a call at 863-533-9000 for more information at Averbuck Criminal Law. Our goals are your goals. Forbes to Schindler in the corner to Yellowbeck. Now to Tavernisi, takes a whack at it. Still loose in front. It comes to Gallardo, and he is able to cover up. Long outlet to Tyrone Hall, but it's deflected, and Forbes will take possession, and he'll take the long shot, and that is about halfway to Auburndale. Both teams will make wholesale changes.
Ink Screen Printing is your source for all custom printed apparel. For more information, visit visit gscreenprint.com or call 863-606-8137.
Gallardo will come out of the box here. Play the ball into the Syracuse zone. Diegues was the intended target, but Toby stepped in front, could not control it, and the Tropics will get a dangerous restart here from the top of the arc. They'll send out Monaleris, Salas, Pereiras, Freddie Mugen, and Ricardo Diegues. Pereiras leaves it off for Mugen, and he misfires. Here's a header by Salas. That had some steam on it, and Coughlin had to be sharp to make sure he had the short side covered. Not been Freddie's night here so far. Here's a takeaway. Now Diegues shot, and he just misses far post. Here's Mugen on the rebound, and again it's up over the glass into the crowd. Great chance for Diegues right there, and he just bent it wide of the far post. 10:32 to play here, third quarter, still 4-2 Tropics. Here's Pereiras, and he has his pocket picked by Forbes. Teixeira recovers. There's a shot, a good save, and a rebound, and a goal. That one will probably go to Tavernese. Gallardo made a great save, but the rebound just popped right up in front of him. And
here with the Florida Tropics, and outdoors this past summer with their sister franchise, the Lakeland Tropics of the USL Premier Development League. In fact, it was Ricardo who led the outdoor team with 10 goals. Shot, saved Gallardo. As Yelovic let it fly.
So again, the Tropics see their 2-goal lead cut in half. Syracuse has not led here tonight. Tropics have led 2-0, 3-1, and 4-2. And the Syracuse Silver Knights have cut it to 1 every single time the Tropics have gotten what they thought might be a little breathing room. Here's Mugen with it. Maicon Franca, who had a very good first half with some pressure. Intercept by Rodriguez up to Franca. Leaves it off now to Rodriguez, and Maicon will head to the bench. Aristodemo will play it back to Gallardo. Well, you certainly saw his athletic ability on that first save on the initial shot. Here's Mauricio Salas with it. Back out to Aristodemo. He'll press into the Syracuse zone. Mugen has it knocked away, picked up by Monaleris. Now to Rodriguez. Long ball in, there's a shot. Monaleris tried to set up Freddie on the far post. We have a whistle and a foul. Boy, a great chance there for Florida. Monaleris very unselfishly trying to set the captain up. Might have taken the shot himself, but certainly Mugen far post was a pretty good option too. Collision near the midfield circle, and good play there by Liam Callahan to stick a foot in, or the Tropics might have had a good counter opportunity.
Our orthopedic, sports medicine, neurology, physical therapy, and athletic trainers are dedicated to keeping the Tropics in peak performance.
They do credit Syracuse's third goal to Tavernese. Long ball into the Syracuse zone. Hall can't come up with it. Tavernese has it. Being challenged by Monaleris. Forbes ahead and could not find Bordeaux. Here's a long ball to Diegues. Diegues in a little bit of space left side. Shot, Coughlin the save. Can't come up with a rebound. Rico comes in hard. Collision there with Bordeaux, but Silver Knights will maintain possession. Schindler has it. Being marked by Diegues. Coughlin will come off his line now. Bangs it into the Florida end. Dieguez takes it away to Franca. Good control over to Ivo Diaz. Tried to play it back off the boards to Maicon Franca. Pereira's taken down. Collision there with Tavernese. Here's a chance for the Silver Knights. There's a shot, and Gallardo makes the save. Good diving save by Miguel Gallardo there. Two-time champion with the Orlando City Lions in the United Soccer League in 2011. He was the goalkeeper of the year in the USL with the Lions. And then with Orlando City, backstopped them to a championship again in 2013. Foul against Forbes as he took JP Reyes to the turf. Join the winning team at Sykes. Sykes is one of the world's leading customer service and digital solutions companies, and we're looking for people just like you to join our Lakeland team. Go to Sykes.com/jobs to get the ball rolling. Of course, we play on Sykes Field here in Central Florida. Aristodemo will play it all the way back to Gallardo, now to Salas. Back over to Robbie. He's going to play it deep into the Syracuse zone for Freddie Mugin, but he hasn't knocked off his foot. Picked up there by Toby. Toby will play it over on the near boards and ahead to Forbes. Forbes has got a man in front. It's Raymond, and Ben Raymond not able to convert as Gallardo knocks it away at the last second. But Raymond able to work deep into the Florida zone. Looked like he might get the equalizer. Salas will let it go back to Gallardo. Florida wants wholesale changes here. Long ball through to Arico. Rather Teixeira. That's Teixeira, the long shot. That goes just wide. Rebound, and that one is blasted off the boards near side. Just wide by Dieguez. Boy, Florida just a little bit off the mark here tonight. Here's the steal now by Teixeira. Teixeira tried to hit Dieguez, couldn't do it, and Arico can't pick up the loose ball. Banged out to the center line. Ty Hall steps up, gets it to Arico and back to Teixeira, and now over to Reyes. So a couple of good opportunities there for the Tropics. But Coughlin not called upon to make the save, as both were just a little bit wide. And the Tropics have had a ton of near misses here tonight. They still lead it by a goal. Gallardo at his own red line. He'll look in for Victor Pereira's, tried to play it off the boards. He gets it back over to Franca. Maicon Franca with it. He'll slow things down and play it out to Teixeira. Teixeira will head to the bench. Monaleras to Franco. Swan City Syndicate trying to get things going here in the behind the goal to our right. Gallardo going to come way out now. He's going to come out and play it deep into the corner to Freddie Mugin. Mugin in front to Aristodemo. Aristodemo can't get it, and there's Rodriguez with a shot, and that's deflected. No, it's going to be a goal kick for Syracuse. Thought it might have gone off a Syracuse defender, but it did not. Lanier Upshaw has a passion for embracing the upside of risk to elevate results. Celebrating 75 years in the community of elevating results, Lanier Upshaw is your go-to for business or personal insurance needs. For more information, visit lanierupshaw.com. Come on, Mary. You can do it, Mary. There. Oh, we just missed it. Oh, and there's Dr. Scott. All right, Dr. Scott. We're glad to have him on the Kiss Cam here tonight in Lakeland, Florida, as the Tropics lead it by a score of 4-3. Syracuse with the only goal here of the third quarter. Can tell you out of town, Harrisburg's lead over St. Louis is now 5-3. And we'll check in on Baltimore and Ontario in just a moment. They are now 4-3. So tight games all around the East again tonight. And as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, that is not a surprise and probably will be pretty much the MO for the entire 2017-18 season, at least in the East. Andrew Coughlin will put it back in play here for Syracuse. Silver Knights looking for a equalizer here. As we said, they have never quite climbed the mountain yet tonight, but they have been close a couple of times. Here's Anthony Arrico with it. Long ball through, was looking for Arrico, couldn't find him. Diegas tried to pick it up at the top of the arc, but could not get possession, and Syracuse has it. Tavernisi feeds it into Ubi Parapovic as Gallardo comes out. Good play by Miguel. Here's Diegas, left side to Arrico. Diegas going to head to the bench on a line change. Salas with it with a little bit of space here on the near boards. Salas. He too at the end of his shift. JP Reyes, fresh legs out there now for the Tropics. Over to Marco Rodriguez. And he will leave it all the way back for Miguel Gallardo. Gallardo making his first start tonight for the Tropics. His first ever game in the Major Arena Soccer League. Jelovic will feed it back to Coughlin. He'll drive it down looking for Petraea, but it goes out of play. So a chance here for Florida with a restart at the top of the arc. This is kind of the restart unit, if you will, for Florida. Mugin, Diegas, Monolaris, Pereiras, and Salas. And the Tropics will take a timeout to decide exactly how they want to play it.
Timeout, Tropics.
Polk County's best prices, selection, and service, you'll find it at Regal Auto. Check us out on regallakeland.com today or stop by any one of their locations, their Chevy or Kia stores on US Highway 98, or their Honda and Acura and GMC dealerships on Lakeland Hills Boulevard. Sponsors of our Tropics starting lineups, of course, every game. That's Regal Auto here in Lakeland. No penalties so far tonight. It's been a fairly physical game. We only had one blue card the entire game here November 18th against Baltimore, as the officials continue to certainly let it go both ways. Kind of like the fact that they are letting that happen, and there certainly hasn't been anything that you would look at and say was egregiously missed. One of the reasons the Tropics certainly wanted Mauricio Salas for his goal scoring is his potential on restart opportunities. We'll see if he is the one that indeed may take it. Pereiras will be nearest the ball here, but Salas has a very accurate and deadly shot. Here's Pereiras. No, it will be Salas. There's a shot and a goal! And they're going to wave it off. There was a whistle before the re-kick, and I could hear it, and I don't know what the whistle was for, actually. And exactly what we were talking about, Salas with that tremendous shot found just enough of an opening to drive it home. But it was waved off. I don't know exactly why, but the whistle clearly had blown before the kick was taken. So the officials apparently did not blow the whistle to restart there we go. So now it's Pereiras. Salas will do it again, leaves it off Mugin, and again he's high. Got to readjust the shoes or something tonight. So a goal taken off the boards. Here's an intercept by Pereiras and then quickly taken back by Syracuse. Pereiras with pressure on Forbes now, up to Tavernisi. He tried to hit Forbes, but he was not really making much of a run, so Gallardo will look downfield and find Dieguez, who is taken down by Jelinek, and Jelinek will win the race to the loose ball. Ricardo makes sure he doesn't get too frustrated here. Here's a chance the other way now for Syracuse. Ubi Parapovic with it. Tried to get it to Tavernise in front. Comes loose to Parapovic in the corner. In front, still loose. Forbes, turnaround shot and a goal. Well, it's just a human pinball in front, and once Gallardo was down, he couldn't recover. And it came to Forbes. He had all kinds of space and time to turn and fire. And Syracuse does indeed get the equalizer. First time tonight they have been able to tie it. It's 4-4. So just kind of a bad break for the Tropics and Gallardo, but Forbes, Johnny on the spot to convert the opportunity in front. And all the Tropic opportunities that they have missed, certainly potential very large here to have that come back and haunt them. Here's Mugin with it in the corner. Loses it to Toby and gets it over to Callahan. Taken back, and Freddie will play it all the way back to Gallardo. Aristodemo with it, being challenged in there by Raymond. Not particularly a strong challenge. Just enough of a pressure to get Robbie to pass it over to Gallardo. He will drive it into the corner, and that goes out of play.
Following is proud to be the title sponsor and official medal provider of Florida Tropics Soccer Club. We'd like to thank Dr. Paul Morin, sports medicine specialist and the physical therapy.
Kick in for Syracuse in their own end. A little over a minute to go now. Pressure by Franca. He's got the speed to do it, that's for sure. Here's a ball up to Vitali, but he could not control it. As Franca comes up with it, plays it back to Gallardo. Pressure by Vitali again. Now here come the Tropics. Ahead to Dieguez. Gets it over to Pereiras. Pereiras with a shot. That goes wide. Coughlin made a dive for it anyway, but was 2 or 3 feet wide on the far post. Reyes will bring it all the way back into his own end. Inside 40 seconds to go. Long ball now to Salas. Salas deep in the right corner. On top to Arico. Get it over to Manoleros now. Tropics making a late line change. And it looks like they may be content to just run out the final 15 seconds and regroup for the final quarter. Salas, though, with it. Salas, long shot. That gets all the way through to Coughlin. Can't control it. Here's Salas coming in on the rebound shot, and that one just goes wide. Down to a second to go. Pereiras will fire, and it's high at the buzzer. So 3 quarters in the books here in Lakeland tonight, and the final 15 minutes will decide it. We are tied at 4. Don't go away. Could be another crazy finish. The Tropics and Silver Knights have had plenty of those already this season, and we may have another one on tap. Back in just a moment, it's Florida 4, Syracuse 4. This is Soccer Night Florida on MASL.TV.
Hi everyone, I'm Shannon Estelle. I just wanted to say hi and hope you enjoyed tonight's game. When you're done here, go over to my YouTube channel to get to know me a little bit better. And yeah, enjoy the game. Go Tropics.
Truly because of the people.
I'm actually looking forward to stepping into the office every single day.
I love working at Sykes because I love talking to people from around the country and just hearing their story.
I like the customer interaction.
And it helps me feel that I'm being part of something bigger than myself.
And the reason I love my job is the opportunity to make such great relationships with so many different people.
I work in a family more than at an actual call center.
I love my job truly because of the people.
I'm actually looking forward to stepping into the office every single day.
I love working at Sykes because I love talking to people from around the country and just hearing their story.
I like the customer interaction.
And it helps me feel that I'm being part of something bigger than myself.
And the reason I love my job is the opportunity to make such great relationships with so many different people.
I work in a family more than at an actual call center.
I love
15 minutes to go here in Lakeland, and we are tied at 4. The Tropics bidding for their 4th win in 5 starts, trying to keep first place in the Eastern Division. And Syracuse, don't want to say they're desperate for a win by any stretch, but at 1-3, they certainly do not want to fall to 1-4. And given the fact that they've lost all 3 of those games by just 1 goal, certainly a little bit of frustration on the part of the Silver Knights just in that fact alone. And so we'll see how things play out here in the 4th quarter. That goal by Canardo Forbes that tied it came at the 12:54 mark. So Syracuse, who trailed 4-2 at the intermission, gets the only 2 goals of the 3rd quarter. Tavernisi at 4:46 and Forbes at 12:54. So that's how we arrived at our 4-4 score. The Tropics on the road next Friday and Saturday. This is a 5-game stretch, all against teams from the East. It started on November 18th against Baltimore. Then, of course, here tonight against Syracuse, and then a road trip in Syracuse next Saturday, in Baltimore next Sunday. Then home December 15th against Baltimore, the 3rd of 4 meetings with the Blast this season. And they'll wrap up this series of divisional games here at home December 23rd with our first look of the season at the Harrisburg Heat. So that is why the Tropics have really kind of placed a premium on this stretch of games, given that they know that East is going to be very, very tough. Every win going to be very, very precious, especially within the division. Foul on the far boards, so a restart here for Florida just at the red line. Monolaris will do it. Shot off the boards. Salas was looking for a rebound, but was not all that close. Here comes Callahan, leaves it at the center line. Now 3-on-1, off to Raymond. Raymond with a shot, and Gallardo with nice anticipation and a good save by Miguel Gallardo. Ben Raymond making a run right there. And
make some noise and let's
Gallardo had it well played. Corner kick coming up. Here's Forbes with a shot, and Pereira stuck a leg in there. And a good defensive play by Victor Pereiras. The forwards giving a lot of defensive help tonight. Certainly appreciated by Miguel Gallardo, making his first ever arena start. Forbes with it. Forbes didn't have anybody in front, and Freddie has it. Ahead to Pereiras. He will race Toby, but Toby will win it back to Coughlin and quickly ahead to Canardo Forbes. Here's a steal and a takeaway by Diegues. Diegues will cut to the center of the floor. Shot and a good block. Diegues with his own rebound knocks it up in the air, but Coughlin able to get it. Diegues didn't really have a great angle, and he tried to cut it back to the top of the box and was thwarted. Here's Forbes, 1-on-1 against Rodriguez with a shot that goes high and wide.
Probably seen why so many people depend on Planet Fitness to reach their fitness goal. You can join for as little as $10 a month. Visit them on Southport Ave right here in Lakeland, or visit PlanetFitness.com. Planet Fitness, home of the judgment-free zone.
Ty Hall with it. Gets it ahead to Mugin. Mugin looks for some help. Plays it back out to the neutral zone where J.P. Reyes has it. Reyes over to Pedro Ivo Diaz. And right back to Reyes. Now to Aristodamo. Micon Franca jumps over the boards. He gets it. Gallardo will step up now. Ivo Diaz collides with Callahan, and Callahan takes it away. Gets it ahead for Bordeaux. Shot, and Gallardo makes a relatively easy save. Arico with it. He loses it. Bad play there. Here's a chance for the Silver Knights. Gallardo comes out and plays it away. Again, good anticipation by Gallardo. Tropics, not a lot of movement off the ball here at the moment. Got to create your own space and chances sometimes in this game. Here's a long ball down to Forbes. Ivo Diaz, the only man back. Salas trying to hustle, and he ran a little bit of interference and just enough to knock Vitale off the ball. Here's Forbes with it. Good hustle by Mauricio Salas and a good veteran play to make just enough contact to not draw a foul, but break up what would have been a very good scoring opportunity. Again, a clearing pass intercepted. Here's a chance and a block by Reyes. And Ivo Diaz will have it. Ivo Diaz, again, nowhere to go. And he gives it up to Jelinek, down to Forbes. Forbes with a shot and a goal. And Syracuse, for the first time, has the lead, and the Tropics really look a little lost out there at the moment. Just not able to maintain possession and really create any opportunities. And Syracuse, pressing the attack, takes the lead for the first time tonight on a goal by Canardo Forbes, his second in a row now. And Syracuse has all 3 goals here in the second half.
Goal for Silver Knights midfielder number 55, Canardo Forbes.
So now let's see if the Tropics have an answer. Syracuse has had answers several times tonight. Pereiras being challenged by Callahan, and a whistle and a foul. Well, one thing the Tropics do not want to do is lose their composure here. A ton of time to go, obviously. Monaleris will put it in play. A little word from the official there for Liam Callahan. Here's Hall. Picked up by Teixeira. Teixeira plays it back to Monaleris, and again up the Hall, but again, really no room at all for the Tropics to operate. Syracuse doing a great job marking all over the floor, and the Tropics really not creating much space. Franca does a little bit now to get open, but plays it right back to Gallardo. Ahead to Pereiras, quickly marked by Jelinek. Now to Teixeira. May take some one-on-one skills here to create an opportunity for the Tropics, with Syracuse really in a tight man-to-man defense. Here's Aristodamo. Dummies it through to Dieguez. Dieguez back out to Teixeira. It's near where he scored the goal against Baltimore to win it. Has it back over to Aristodamo. Now on top to Reyes. Micon Franca quickly marked there by Jelinek. That is the long and the short of it between Bo Jelinek and Micon Franca. Long ball down to Dieguez. Dieguez tries to turn, can't do it. Tropics really looking fairly frustrated out there at the moment. Can understand why. Really superior defensive effort here by Syracuse in the second half. Gallardo will bring it out over the red line. Long ball up to Mugin. The soccer gods may owe Mugin one tonight. He has missed on several glorious chances. Here's Ivo Diaz, and he's pushed off the ball and rolls to Coughlin. Outlet pass intercepted by Mugin. Tropics don't really have numbers, and Mugin will head to the bench. Here's Salas again. He's been quiet tonight. Long ball by Salas. Knocked away, and Coughlin just does corral the loose ball as Diegas was lurking at the side of the box there looking for a rebound. Collision between Schindler and Monolaris. That was a heavy one, and Monolaris went down. Whistle blew a long time ago, and the Silver Knights were still pressing the attack as Monolaris went down heavily on the near boards here after a collision with Schindler. Comes with 8:38 to play in the ball game. 5-4 Syracuse. Monolaris is up.
If you or someone you know has been injured, Brooks Law invites you to call or check out their website, brookslawgroup.com. Injured, look to Brooks.
Well, the Tropics going to need to raise the roof here in the final 8:38. And if it's a roof you're in the market for, visit us online at fltropics.com/comprehensive roofing. You could win a free roof from the Tropics and Comprehensive Roofing for all your roofing needs and quality you can count on. Call Comprehensive Roofing at 863-210-5583. Enter to win a new free roof. Log on to fltropics.com/comprehensive roofing. Here's a takeaway. Raymond with it. Raymond over to Forbes. Little give and go, and Gallardo again, good anticipation. Ahead to Diegas. Diegas being watched by Toby. Diegas has Vitale coming in, and he knocks it into the corner. Hall 1 against 3 in there. Hall still trying to battle, and it'll be a foul against Hall. Kind of seems somewhat inevitable with the number situation. Headed to Tyrone Hall. Tried to get it to Diegas, but couldn't do it. It'll be a kick in here for Florida.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is immediate timeout.
So the coaches and players will have a chance to chat about it one more time here. Had a car accident or have a personal injury? Then look to Brooks, our official injury attorneys. Go to brookslawgroup.com or call 1-800-LAW-3030 for more information. Look to Brooks. That's brookslawgroup.com. Had fun out here before the game tonight with Rockin' Bouncies. They had their big soccer ball Velcro inflatable target. Our Kids Zone partner, Rockin' Bouncies, has so much to choose from to make your next birthday party special. Log on to myrockinparty.com or just go see them to discuss your next event. Visit them at the next Tropics game when you come out to Sykes Field. That would be on December 15th when the Baltimore Blast will come to town. The Blast leading Ontario last we knew tonight by a score of 4-3. That game up in the new digs for the Blast in the SECU Arena on the campus of Towson University. And actually, we can tell you they've now gone to the fourth quarter, and Baltimore has extended that lead. They now lead Ontario 6-3. So if that result holds, Baltimore would move into first place, a half game up on Florida if the Tropics cannot rally. Same score, by the way, in Harrisburg and also in the fourth quarter. The Heat on top of the ambush 4-3. All four teams in the East in action tonight. Gallardo over the center line. He'll Play it into Mujin, takes a bad hop off the boards. Franca with it in front and couldn't really control the loose ball as it had some funny spin on it. Took a weird hop off the dasher boards, and that spin, Coughlin couldn't corral it, but neither could Franca. And finally, Coughlin was able to reel it in. Tropics have been held off the score sheet since the 7:50 mark of the second quarter. So half the second quarter, all of the third quarter, and most of the fourth. There's another bad giveaway. Shot, and that's off the woodwork. Great chance for Liam Callahan, and he banged it off the post. Callahan has it again. Well, we have seen several sloppy plays in the Florida zone here in the second half. Give credit to the Silver Knights. They have forced some of it, but this has not been the Tropics' best performance of the 2017-18 season so far. Kick in for Florida coming up. But still time certainly to recover and get the win. Down by just a goal with 7 minutes or just a little less than that to play. Probably 3 or so minutes away from a sixth attacker situation if the Tropics don't get the equalizer. Here's Diegues. Leaves it off for Salas. Long shot blocked. Salas gets it back again. Shot. Good save, Coughlin. That was right at Coughlin. Salas not quite able to pick a corner there. He's got a tremendous leg. Monolaris loses it. Chance for the Silver Knights. Shot and a goal. What a bomb by Canardo Forbes. 4-on-2, and Canardo Forbes gives Syracuse a 2-goal lead now at 6-4. No chance for Gallardo on that one at all. And looks like the Tropics are going to go to the sixth attacker right away here. And why not? They have been pretty listless here in the second half offensively. And 6 minutes is a long time being down just 2 goals, but I would have to think part of Clay Roberts' thought process here is we need to light the fire. So Victor Pereiras will don the sixth attacker jersey here with 6:14 to go. He'll be out there with Arico, Salas, Mujin, J.P. Reyes, and Ricardo Diegues. Down to Diegues, back to Reyes. Of course, no huge sense of urgency here with over 6 minutes to go. Long shot by Salas, knocked away at the defense. Here's a chance again blocked, this time by Vitali. Pereiras will give it over to Salas, to Reyes. Reyes on the right side to Diegues and right back to JP. Pereiras with the sixth attacker jersey. Diegues with it. Tries to reverse field to Salas with his shot. Headed in front, and Coughlin is able to corral it. Tropics are going to have to recover here. They're going to give up a seventh. They do. And Arico gets it away with some help from J.P. Reyes. Inside 5 minutes now to go. Salas with it. On the left side to Monolaris. Monolaris on top to Pereiras. Little on top to Freddie with a shot. Coughlin again with a save. Might have been partially deflected at the defense. Didn't seem like Freddie got a lot on it. And Syracuse wants to call a timeout. So after really coming out flat, Syracuse, and giving up 2 goals in the first 3:41 of the game, the Silver Knights have taken the play away from the Tropics decidedly here in the second half. And they want to make sure they know what strategy Coach Ryan Hall has for them over the final 4 minutes and 39 seconds. Phil Averbuck is your local criminal law attorney and the official law attorney of the Tropics. Go to averbucklaw.com. or give him a call at 863-533-9000 for more information. At Averbuck Criminal Law, our goals are your goals.
Bring in your Tropics ticket this week and receive a 10% discount off your next meal at Mongolian Grill in Lakeside Village, right here in Lakeland. Check out their huge...
So Forbes with 2 tonight for the Silver Knights. Back-to-back here in the second half. The usual suspects for Syracuse doing the damage. Bernardo Forbes, Joey Tavernisi. Forbes came into the game tonight with 4 goals, so his total up to 6 now on the season. Coughlin will put it in play for the Silver Knights. Tavernisi, of course, with a couple as well. In fact, Bernardo Forbes has the last 3, I beg your pardon, so he has the hat trick. He has the tire, the game winner if it stands, and the one that gave Syracuse a 2-goal cushion. Here's Diegas. Tried to get a little fancy with Arico, and it's intercepted by the hero tonight for Syracuse, Bernardo Forbes. Forbes 1 against 3. Finally knocked out of there. Diegas, though, can't control it, but it goes out of play, kick in for Florida. Tropics down to 4 minutes to go, and they have not really created much again offensively, even with the 6th attacker. Offensive problem for the Tropics last year. They were the 2nd lowest scoring team in the league, and it has kind of gone away here tonight. Long shot by Salas, and that's an easy save by Coughlin as he outlets to Forbes looking for his 4th. Here's Jelinek with it. Jelinek at the red line, cuts to his left with a shot. Pereiras with a good save. Corner kick coming up, though, for Syracuse. Apparently, Gallardo will stay on the bench for the corner kick.
For more information, go to metrobcs.com.
Forbes will do the honors. Got Peripovich at the top of the box. There's a shot by Forbes, blocked in there by the Florida defense. Teixeira clears the zone. Arico chasing. Coughlin will come way out here to play it. Arico with the steal. Arico, 3-on-2 in front. Shot, save, Coughlin. Best scoring chance the Tropics have had in a while, and Teixeira shot it right into Coughlin's arms. Here's Teixeira with it. Teixeira, left side to Mugin. Freddie, boy, again, bad luck for Freddie. Took a high hop off the boards and tried to head it, and goes right over the glass and out of play. Really, really starting to look like it's just not the Tropics' night here tonight.
Apply online at sites.com/jobs.
Pereiras with the 6th attacker jersey on gets it to Monaleras. Time now really does become a huge factor. The Tropics are going to have to really press the issue in the Silver Knight zone. Monaleras has it. Monaleras in front, redirect by Diegas, but again, it's right at Coughlin. Not a difficult save by Andrew at all. Takeaway by Monaleras. Left side to Teixeira to Pereiras. Pereiras to Monaleras to Teixeira. The shot. Coughlin with a save. Here's the half volley rebound attempt by Monaleras, and that goes, or rather that was Monaleras on the far side. No, it was Mauricio Salas, beg your pardon. Quiet night for him, as we said also. Salas ahead to Diegas, or rather Aristodemo. Tried to hit Diegas. Forbes with it, being challenged by Robbie. Still loose. Knocked into the Florida zone inside 2 minutes to go. Pereiras. Over the center line comes Florida. They need a quick one. Here's Diegas. Diegas can't control it. Didn't tee it up at the top of the box. Thought he might.
Tropics fans, I want to hear ya.
Taken away by Syracuse and cleared out to the midfield circles. Well, Pereiras comes up with it. Monaleras tried to feed it in front of Andrew Coughlin, who's imploring his defenders to push out, keep the Tropics as far out as possible. Good strategy as we close down to 1 minute and 15 to go. Pereiras with it. Pereiras. Left corner, header in front. There's a shot, and that one just goes high. Again, Mugin, unbelievable how many chances he's missed tonight. Freddie going to have nightmares as we have a little altercation in front. Ricardo Diegas very frustrated. We've seen a lot of frustration from several of the Tropics tonight. Ricardo certainly has missed his fair share as well, but Freddie Mugin, it's been a long time since I've seen him have a game where he's had as many opportunities as he's had tonight and just not been able to finish. He is a tremendous finisher and has had 4 or 5 absolutely glorious opportunities tonight and has just not been able to convert, and that in part may cost the Tropics. Inside a minute as Syracuse looks to improve to 2-3 on the season. Canardo Forbes goes down, no whistle. Tavernisi with it. Monaleras takes it away. Down to 45 seconds to go. And Jelinek will just put it out of play. It really wasn't his intent, but Syracuse happy to just run some clock here for sure. Pereiras. Here's Mauricio Salas with it. Salas back to Pereiras. Just not real sharp here tonight. Passes off just a little bit. Shots off just a little bit. Maybe a bit too much turkey for the Thanksgiving holiday. It's been a couple of weeks since the Tropics have been in action as Coughlin comes out and makes a save, but will be whistled for the foul. I think a little extra time may have run off the clock, and the Tropics asking to perhaps see if there's a couple extra seconds that should be added. Now they're going to call Syracuse, I guess, for a penalty. I guess Coughlin going to be blue carded here with 13 seconds to go. So the Tropics with a restart just at the edge of the box. 6-on-4 here, but only 13 seconds to go. Pretty impossible task for the Tropics, even in indoor soccer.
Somebody scream!
Here's the restart across the Monaleras, shot and a goal. Well, it only took 2.1 seconds, but probably too little, too late for the Tropics. Their first goal since the 7:50 mark of the second quarter. Of course, Syracuse will put it in play, and all they need to do is hold it or keep the Tropics away from the goal for 12 seconds. They've put it, looks like 1.1 second back on the clock here. And again, tempers flaring a bit, and I think Lucas Monaleras just got a yellow card. So Monaleras will head off. This will not mean that the Tropics will have to play a man down, but again, with just 12 seconds to go, maybe time for the Tropics to get one opportunity away if they can get a quick steal, but pretty tall order to be sure. And again, the Silver Knights are going to play, it looks like, in a one-goal game. This time they might win it. 5 games decided by 1 goal for Syracuse if they can hold on here in the final 12 seconds. Both wins by 1 goal and 3 losses by 1 goal. But credit the Silver Knights for really a fine effort here in the second half, particularly. Frustrating the Tropics at just about every turn with their close man-to-man marking defensively, and Canardo Forbes with 3 goals. Ball is put back in play, and it's sent into the Tropic zone. Pereiras with it. Pereiras gets it ahead for Salas. Salas, long shot towards the Syracuse goal. Coughlin will come out and play it, and that will do it. The Tropics, indeed, not enough time to really mount any kind of a serious threat in the final 12 seconds. So Florida falls to 3-2, and their stay atop the Eastern Division will be somewhat short-lived because both Baltimore and Harrisburg look like they will improve to 3-1. They are both leading their games tonight in the fourth quarter, 6-3. So Florida will fall to 3-2. Syracuse will improve to 2-3, and Harrisburg and Baltimore, again, if those results hold, will stay tied atop now the East Division with a 3-1 mark. Big night for Canardo Forbes with a hat trick, getting the tying goal at the 12:54 mark of the third quarter, and then both goals in the fourth quarter, the first one at 3:33, the second one at 8:47. And that was enough for Syracuse to win it by a final score of 6-5. So the Tropics will head on the road now, and they will have a rematch with the Silver Knights in Syracuse next Saturday night. That is a December 9th start in Syracuse, and they will then hit the road right away after that game to head to Baltimore and take on the Blast in a Sunday afternoon, a late Sunday afternoon matinee. We're returning here to Sykes Field on December 15th when they host the Baltimore Blast. For ticket information, go to www.fltropics.com. And don't forget, of course, every game, home and away, live on MASL.TV. Our thanks to Mike, Tawan, Gary, the broadcast crew here tonight in Lakeland. The final score, once again, the Syracuse Silver Knights 6 and the Florida Tropics 5. Have a great night, everybody.